All right. Good afternoon and welcome. I am Tina Patterson, Principal Attorney of Patterson Justice Council, PLLC, here in Detroit, Michigan. We're pursuing justice in business. We help everyday individuals protect their property, have their rights respected, and leave legacies to their lineage. We do this because we believe the law should be used as a force and a tool for liberation, not oppression. So, this month, today, Wednesday, March 1st, marks Women's History Month. So it's going to be a special discussion this month here live on our YouTube channel, Patterson Justice. All month long, we will be focusing on how some of the legal challenges we face and that we help clients with here at the firm more significantly impact women for different reasons. And now I'm saying this not to say it doesn't impact men, but there are very unique challenges that women face in particular. And we're only going to be covering the area of estate planning. We're not even talking about some of the broader and other more diverse areas of law. So, like I said, we're going to be talking about these issues all month long. But for today, Wednesday, March 1st, as we kick off the month, we're going to be starting in the area of estate planning. And that's why we titled the video Women and Wills. So, in particular, when it comes to estate planning, again, it's a good solution for all men, women, even young people. We always think it's old people. It's not just old people, men, women, young people, black, white, doesn't matter. It affects women in three particular ways that we are going to discuss here on the video today. First, and I'm just going to name out the ways and we're going to talk about it: wielding more control, wealth accumulation, and watching over more family. All three of these areas, women have very unique roles and responsibilities that it comes into, and we're going to get right into it. So, first, wielding more control. Women, on average, live longer than men, and that's going to be a thread we see here as we interweave these three different points. So, women on average live longer than men, and women are half the population. So, half the population lives longer than the other half of the population, as a general rule. So, this means that women are more likely to become widows first after the death of a spouse. This also means that women are then more likely to wield more control over different assets, not only of their own property, again, but of the property they inherit from the death of a spouse, or even as remaining female family members, such as a daughter or a sister, a granddaughter. Therefore, it is more critical. It is not more critical, but it is very critical, particularly for women, to ensure that proper planning is in place to protect significant assets such as homes, money, vehicles, life insurance policies, anything that you want to leave and pass off. So these valuables are set up for the benefit of the next generation. So that's the first point. Women often wield more control because they live longer, and the control is going to be passed down to them. So the responsibility will more than likely, based on that longevity, fall to women. Now, second is related to this first point, just a little bit different because we're thinking about more of the mindset of it, not just the responsibility, but how you want to then um, control. So the first one was they have more control. The second one kind of gets into how you want to use that control and set it up in a way that's going to benefit people. So the second was wealth accumulation. Again, related to the first point, because women live longer on average, they're more likely to now gain this greater wealth. Again, from their own assets, especially now as women have begun to work more and make more money. So from their own assets, but also again, like we just discussed in the first point, from the assets they inherit from spouses and male family members. So more wealth is at stake. So yes, the control and all that stuff, but now we have to think about, wow, so my net worth, maybe it was 200,000 before, now it's double, 400,000. So now we have $400,000 on the line. If it's $1 million, maybe now we have $2 million on the line. And so it just has an elevated mindset of now I'm this greater wealth proprietor, right? I'm this greater wealth provider. So now I have to think in that way. And I'll just give some examples. So from my own practice and the women I've helped, I have a couple in mind, a couple of women, two different women that are now in their 60s and 70s who are widows. Both lost spouses in the last 10 years. Both have inherited multiple properties from their deceased spouses. One of them now has 8 different properties, minimum. I didn't even count before I kind of went on the live, but at least 8 different properties just to one person. So now the wealth has doubled eight, not doubled, the wealth has multiplied 8 times, right? The other one, the wealth has doubled because they're both very significant homes and very stable and prosperous neighborhoods. So now we have a doubling of wealth, an 8 times wealth, a 10 times wealth, right? So it is important with these factors in mind that women consider that obviously the more wealth they're likely to gain, not only to have the proper planning in place for their death, as we kind of talked about in the beginning, right? So that we make sure we know where the assets are going, but also now planning to assist and protect the wealth now while they're still alive, so it's not lost to the next generation. So making sure that if you need somebody to help manage the properties, you're doing that. If you need somebody to serve as a power of attorney, you're doing that, right? Especially with power of attorney. So kind of segue, I didn't even really put it in my notes to talk about, but a power of attorney is just giving someone the power to do something you're already able to do. And the reason why it's so important to get these documents done while you're in your right state of mind, again, we're talking about mindset for the second point, is because you can't do it if you've lost mental capacity. And so as we age, our brain kind of starts to diminish a little bit, our mental faculty starts to diminish, and our decisions are more susceptible. They're more questionable. Do we really mean to do that? Is she under some kind of influence? Those kinds of conflicts and those kind of questions can come into place, and they can interfere with the entire property that you have, the entire structure that you have for that property. So particularly for women, it's important to, again, consider that mindset. Okay, now I have more wealth. I need to protect it now while I'm here, not just wait until I pass. I need to protect it now while I'm here so that it is still here for me to pass on later on. So something like a power of attorney where you are giving someone that power and then they're able to use it according to your instructions when you're not able to mentally handle it anymore is a good idea. So again, kind of a nuance, little caveats here and there, but that's why we're talking about it, because we don't really consider these issues. We just kind of know what we know. Oh, well, it's only when I pass away. No, there are things you can do right now to protect your property, to protect your money, to protect your policies, everything you want that you can put in place today. You don't have to wait until you die to do it, and you should not wait for that to happen to do any of this. Okay, so sorry, that was a little caveat, a little segue that we didn't mean to get into, but it was very important, and it was related to that second point, which is, again, wealth accumulation. So as the wealth accumulates, the mindset has to accumulate as well, and that is what you want to protect, really, that mindset. And so finally, the last one is watching more family members. So despite great gains in employment outside of the home, many women are still the primary caregivers and caretakers of the household. And this includes not only minor children, but also adult children and other relatives in need, or that they just care for, such as nieces, nephews, elderly parents. A lot of times it's common to have 3-4 generations in the same house, and maybe there's a primary matriarch, right, taking care of the family. And because of this, I'm oftentimes contacted first by a mother, a grandmother, a sister, an aunt, a daughter that is looking for legal assistance for another family member, to kind of initiate this kind of legal process or initiate these solutions for legal challenges. And also going back to the point of how women live longer, when it comes to someone passing away, I'm often also contacted again by a mother, a daughter, a wife, sister, etc., that is seeking legal assistance after the death of a loved one. And then it's my job to help them during the midst of their grief to sort out their legal affairs. For instance, collecting insurance policy benefits, filing the proper court paperwork if they have to go to court. And this is all while grieving, in the midst of grief, just lost somebody. All while doing this, sometimes it's even just losing a child. I've done that before where, I've assisted a adult child, and then I have to help mother, who's just lost their child with all of these other just legal issues that you already don't want to deal with it because it can be stressful. But on top of that, you're just grieving. You just lost a child. It's unbearable sometimes, but this is what happens. This is life. And so I've had to do that. So we're talking about, going through the ebbs and flows, the emotions of grief, while trying to handle the proper affairs, and also while trying to still maintain close, loving family relationships. It's not hard to just lose someone and you bounce right back to the way it was. It's never going to be the way it was again. So these factors are always at play, and but just I'll say in my experience and my practice that women are the ones that are really kind of juggling, if you will, all these different aspects. And it affects them in that way just because, this is the role that they've historically played and still do play, is just being the primary caretaker, primary facilitator of the household. Okay. And the same goes also when, obviously, since we're talking about caring for family, women are still primarily rearing children. They're still primarily the caregivers of young children. So when we're talking about the area of estate planning, there comes the issue of naming a proper guardian in case the mother is no longer here to care for their children. And that's something that a lot of, especially young people, I would say between 20 and 40, who have kids but don't have any plan set in place, don't think about. Because obviously, you never know when, and you don't want the worst to happen. You should not expect it, but you want to be prepared, and you can do that while you're still alive. And naming a guardian for your minor children is a big way of doing that. The same goes for naming a successor guardian for women who are in charge and already taking care of elderly parents or other adult family members who are mentally or developmentally unable to care for themselves and require their assistance. I recently helped a client who is guardian for an adult family member. And in the plan, we had to put in there a successor guardian. If something was to happen to me and this is the person I'm responsible for, even though this person is not an adult, right, but I'm the guardian, then this is who I want to take my place. And so these issues are very real. We don't talk about them. We don't discuss them. Some of us are unaware. But when we really take a holistic look at who's in our lives, what we have in our lives, and what we want to accomplish with our lives, these issues come up, and they are solvable, right? It can be difficult, especially talking about it openly and honestly, which a lot of people don't want to do. But when you do tackle the issue, you'll see that they're very easy holes to plug, and nothing's going to come popping out, right? As long as you try to make sure that you're preparing ahead of time. That's the whole really point of estate planning in general. So these were the 3 topics we just discussed. Again, wielding more control, wealth accumulation, and watching over more family. The unique different ways how estate planning affects women in a way that it may or may not affect men, but I've seen in my own practice how they really particularly affect women. And then there are also a lot of other legal areas, like I talked about at the top of the video, that significantly impact women, such as divorce, discrimination, disrespect. We'll cover the latter 2 in a future video. But for today, again, we talked about why it's important for women, especially, to consider estate planning to ensure proper maintenance of family assets and relationships. So if you'd like to learn more, we are hosting an estate planning challenge at the end of the month, where we will cover the topic more in depth and more generally. It won't be women specific, but a lot of the same issues we talked about, like mindset, like power of attorney, those kinds of things. And even broader than that, we'll go into it. And what we teach will have you stop thinking of estate planning as dull, depressing, and dreadful, and think of it more as empowering, elevating, and exciting. For me, I enjoy it because it's creation. It's design. It's so many things that we have the power to really construct in our own imagination and to the benefit of other people. It's service too. We're serving the next generation. So it's not boring. It's not depressing. It's not dreadful. It's exciting. I get to influence. I still get to have my influence, not just in my life, but beyond that. And it's a very, very powerful concept. And that's how I like to teach it to others. So that's what we'll be talking about in the challenge. If you're interested, you want to learn more, you can click on the link in the description of the video. Again, the challenge begins Monday, March 27th, and registration is opening soon. Finally, if you're a Michigan resident and you are ready to invest in estate planning work or review your current plans, we are offering our Prosperity Package, which is an estate planning package we introduced last year. It was very popular towards the end of the year. We're bringing it back. Well, it's been back now, but it's going away soon at a special price through the end of March. So if you're interested, simply book an appointment by March 31st. So as long as you have the appointment set before March 31st, it doesn't have to take place before March 31st, okay? So book an appointment by then, either online or by calling our office, and you'll be locked in for that price. All right, that's it for today. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you found it of value, please like the video, share it, and subscribe to our channel. Until then, we will see you live again next week, Wednesday, March 8th, which is actually officially International Women's Day, and I'm sure you will not want to miss us then. Okay, take care. Goodbye.